Hello, my name is Parv. This is an open source project that I've built called CSV Intelligence Layer. It is a tool that turns messy real world CSV upload into clean, schema compliant, import ready data. CSV import fails in most productions because user rarely matches the expected schema. Headers don't line up, data types are inconsistent, and fixing this really means asking users to manually rename columns, clean values, etc. That process is fragile and error prone, and this tool is built to fix that. I'll walk you through a simple example showing how an arbitrary CSV is reconciled into a strict schema. All right, let's take a look at this messy CSV that we have. If we take a closer look, it has some order IDs that are duplicate. For example, order 1 is present twice. It has emails that are invalid or not present. It has pricing that is in negative, which should not be the case. Some string values are there. Similarly, for date, there are some invalid dates, and also for statuses, we have some unknowns. So this overall represents a good real life example of how messy a CSV can be. All right, so now let's take a look at our schema that could fix this. Essentially, our product requires a schema against which we can fix a CSV. So let's take a closer look at what we have for this case. Here it says we want columns starting from order ID. It is of type string, and it needs to be unique. That's inside the validator. And we have aliases. These are like similar looking headers we can try to map to the order ID. So in the messy CSV, we see that it's called order num. So we'll try to take order num and try to map it to order ID as expected from our system. Taking a look next, we have customer email, which should be of type email. It also have aliases, and if you take a closer look, for both of the first two columns, we have strict true. So if any validation fails or type check fails, we don't want to add that row in the final CSV. After that, we have amount, the third column, which has aliases as price, total, etc. Here we have a validation that it should not be lesser than 0. It should not be a negative value. So if that's the case, we try to use the default 0 value. And similarly for order dates, we want to have we just want to match the date styles, and if that does not follow, we want to use the default value, and same for status. So here we have enums. So it says status should only be of one of these types. If not, the validation would fail, and if the validation fails, we want to use the default value, which is pending. Now we have an error policy of coarse default, which which if you can take a look at the docs as well, which means using the default value in case there is an error. Before I show you the example, we have a doc section here which shows how we can create the schema, what all types are there, what are options we have, validation options, and error policies that you would want to accept. It also shows the pipeline and examples. But never mind, I'm going to the playground to show you example how we can fix this messy CSV. All right, so I'll copy the schema that I have. I'll paste that in here, click on create schema. Here it will show me my already existing some things about the schema, like what all columns I'm expecting, what type it should be, and if it is strict or not. In this case, if there is any default value, and if so, what that is, etc., etc. Alright, let's upload a CSV. Here I've uploaded the CSV. Click on start processing. The pipeline has started and it has finished. So here we can see it says there were 10 rows and out of them only one was valid. But since we didn't remove all the invalid rows, we were using coarse defaults. We in the resulting CSV will have 7 columns. It shows how the columns were mapped. So order num was mapped to order ID and so forth. And top issues that were there, but again, I think this section is more important. Here it says email was not valid, so the row was rejected. In the next third row, there was some amount which was negative, but then again we are using coarse default, so we must have used a default value there. And yeah, we can take a look at all the other examples here. So we see that only 3 rows were rejected. So resulting 10 minus 3 should be 7 final output rows. Now let's take a look at the CSV that we just processed. So this is the resulting CSV and see how good it looks. So we don't have any order which are repeating, which are duplicate. All the customer emails are valid. The amount is all positive or 0, which is our default value. Same with date and status. So we just saw how we can take a messy CSV and convert it into schema compliant resulting schema compliant CSV. What we just saw is a deterministic pipeline that infers structure, reconciles column, validates data types, and produces predictable output. The goal is to remove CSV friction without relying on manual or fragile fixes. This project was built to solve a real production problem that I encountered, and it is designed as an internal grade engine that can be embedded or extended. That's the core idea behind CSV intelligence layer. Thank you for watching.